Hey everyone, welcome to an NFL video. In this one, we're going over my favorite plays for the Monday Night Showdown slate, the Browns versus the Jets game on Draftkings. Anyway, before we continue, if you could leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16. And if you like access to any of my extra content, all my spreadsheets are on Patreon. Links in the description below. Got a slide chat on there as well. And this is just a very light version of my spreadsheet for the main slates. I go way more in depth. I got projected ownership on there, all the stats you need on there, projections, defense versus whatever, all that's on there. So this is just a very light version of my spreadsheet. That's why I'm showing it for you guys on there. So anyway, let's get into it. I guess we'll actually just head over to DraftKings because I don't really want to. I can actually pull up the stats on there. So let me just fix this slightly. And let's just kind of go down the list here. So obviously we have Odell Beckham Jr. and let's just talk about the flexes first. And let's just look at the flex salaries. So we have Odell Beckham Jr. at $11,800. He is one of my favorite plays on the entire slate. I know he's the most expensive guy, but he loves the spotlight. He's back in New York. I know it's not versus the Giants, but he's still back in New York. And he's the number one target for the Browns. The Browns have to have a bounce back game here, or they are going to get destroyed in the media after the pounding they took versus the Tennessee Titans. That was absolutely embarrassing. I'm a huge Browns fan, so it sucked. But they should be bouncing back here versus the New York Jets. And their defense is just pretty much decimated right now. They're missing a lot of pieces, and so is their offense. And Le'Veon Bell should play, but if he doesn't, it's a big hit to their offense as well. Sam Darnold's out, so the Browns should bounce back in a big way. Odell should be a big part of that. He had 11 targets last weekend, hauled in 7 of them, had a couple called back from penalties. Still had the biggest target share on the offense. Odell is one of the game's most elite and prolific players, one of the best players at the wide receiver position. Just, you guys know he's generational talent, so I definitely like Odell Beckham Jr. He's taken a lot of heat this week with the watch. The opposing coach, Greg Williams, so he called him out too, thinking he wasn't one of the most prolific players in the NFL. So I think Odell is in for a big game. We know Odell loves the spotlight, so he's someone I'm looking to lock in my lineups. Now, Le'Veon Bell, he's interesting this week. He's at 11,600, and he is actually my highest projected player if he ends up playing. It's risky though, but he should be fine. He was on the field for 100% of the snaps last week. I know there was a lot of concern about him and his workload. Now, I could see it getting dipped down a little bit because he did get an injury, so I can see an uptick in usage for Ty Montgomery. But if Le'Veon Bell is on the field and sees a decent enough workload, he should be fine. The Cleveland Browns got absolutely decimated by Derrick Henry last week. They gave up a 75-yard screen pass to him. I know Derrick Henry is not known for his work in the passing game, and he just destroyed them there. Le'Veon Bell is known for his work in the passing game. He had 9 targets last week, 6 receptions, 32 yards. I know Sam Darnold was out, but Trevor Siemian is known for dumping the ball off to running backs. So I think Le'Veon Bell is this is PPR scoring for DraftKings, and Le'Veon Bell is a PPR monster. So I do think Le'Veon Bell is in play. If he is playing with the injury tag, that will lower his ownership a little bit. I know it's a showdown slate, so everyone's way high owned, but I think Le'Veon Bell is a fine play if he's in for obvious reasons. And he was limited in practice on Saturday, but he was able to practice, so that's a positive sign for him being able to play. I know he wants to play. So Le'Veon Bell is fine. I know it's not bold or anything, but I do like Le'Veon Bell. Baker Mayfield, 11,200. He was absolutely terrible, and that pains me to say that because, like I said, I'm a Browns fan. But yeah, he was bad. He had like a stretch of 3 passes in a row that should have been picked and were picked, and he looked super bad. But the preseason hype wore off. They got punched in the mouth, and hopefully that humbled them. Now, the pressure is on, though, to make a statement game versus the Jets, and I think he can do that. The Jets do not have the best secondary in the world. Like I said, their defense is missing a lot of key pieces. He's got Odell to throw to, Jarvis Landry, David Njoku, Rashard Higgins, who's questionable, but he should play. Nick Chubb out of the backfield is a really capable pass catcher. So I think Baker Mayfield is definitely in play here. He's going to be really high owned, but I love all of his weapons, so that means I have to love Baker Mayfield. And quarterbacks on showdown slates, they tend to score a lot of points. So, they tend to have the safer floors. A lot of times the wide receiver ones and RB ones score the most points. But still like Baker Mayfield here. Love all his targets. Love pairing him up with Odell Beckham Jr. and Rashard Higgins on this slate. Because on showdown slates, you have to build your lineups with correlation plays. You can't just make it random. So you have to pick a game script and kind of run with it in your lineups. And so let's talk about Nick Chubb now at 10K. He is right up there with Odell as being my top play of the entire slate. The Jets are missing Quentin Williams and C.J. Mosley. The Browns should be able to run on this Jets team. Nick Chubb is the man. He's the man in the backfield there. There's no Dontrell Hilliard. Carlos Hyde's gone from last year. Duke Johnson's gone. You guys all know that. And the next guy up is Dearness Johnson. So he's not going to see a lot of work in this game. Nick Chubb is the bell cow back. Last week was not promising, but it was also not a positive game script for him. He had 17 carries for 75 yards, had 3 receptions on 4 targets for 10 yards. Not a very efficient game in the terms of the passing game. But still, he's going to get the rock a ton. He should push for 20, 25 touches in this game. I'd look for him to get into the end zone. So definitely like Nick Chubb. He got vultured last week by Dontrell Hilliard, and I don't see that happening anytime soon, especially because Hilliard's out. I can't see them giving Johnson the ball near the goal line. So definitely like Nick Chubb on the slate. He's one of these safer plays as well, and he's got a high ceiling too. Jarvis Landry, he actually grades out as one of the worst values on the entire slate in my projection system, my model, whatever you want to call it. And he's just way overpriced at $9K. He's a safe floor guy, but he's not the main target on this offense like he was last season, and at $9K, I'm just not going to do it. I'd rather play Rashard Higgins for a lot cheaper. He had 7 targets till last week. He is involved. I'm not saying he's not involved anymore, but 7 targets, 4 receptions, 67 yards, no touchdowns. If he can do the same thing and get a touchdown, that's fine, but at $9K, there's just some other options I like, and I don't see him. He doesn't have a huge ceiling, really. So Jarvis Landry is someone I'm going to pass on. He's a much better real-life receiver than he is a fantasy receiver, if that makes sense. Trevor Siemian, I'm not doing it, guys. I know he's 8,200 as a quarterback, but you're just not going to catch me playing Trevor Siemian. I'd much rather play the Browns defense versus him. Jamison Crowder, he was heavily involved last week. He had 14 receptions on 17 targets, but only for 99 yards. It's kind of crazy if you have 14 receptions, you can't even crack 100 yards. Sam Darnold was just using him. So he's pretty much in the Jarvis Landry role in the Adam Gase offense. Adam Gase and Jarvis Landry were together in Miami, and Jarvis Landry was not a deep threat. He was a short. It's pretty much running through the pass game, if that makes any sense. He's going to be involved on short routes, and just to move the chains. Now, I know Sam Darnold was out, and he loves targeting Jamison Crowder, but Adam Gase loves using the slot wide receiver. So I think Jamison Crowder is going to have a similar role. I can't see Trevor Siemian really looking to go deep downfield to Robbie Anderson, and Crowder should be more of a safety blanket. So I think Crowder isn't played at 8K. I'd much rather play him over Jarvis Landry. I mean, he's not as talented, but I think his role in the offense is a little bit better and for a cheaper price. So don't mind Jamison Crowder at 8K. Robbie Anderson, there's no Sam Darnold, so I'm not too interested in Robbie Anderson. He did not have a great game last week. 3 receptions on 7 targets for only 23 yards. He's going to be matched up with Denzel Ward, and he's a budding superstar, a lockdown corner. Held Corey Davis to absolutely nothing last week. So I'm not going to be targeting Robbie Anderson, especially with Trevor Siemian behind center against Denzel Ward. So someone I'm going to be passing on. Sam Darnold's out. Drew Stanton, obviously, he's not going to play. Garrett Gilbert, not playing. David Njoku, not my favorite play in the world. The Jets aren't absolutely trash for starting position. He did score a touchdown last week. He had 6 targets, 4 catches, 37 yards. Not a huge ceiling guy, but, he can get you 30 to 50 yards, and if he finds the end zone, you're going to be happy. If not, you're probably not going to be too happy. So I don't love David Njoku, but, I guess he's playing on a showdown slate. Browns defense, I do have a lot of interest in going up against the Jets with Trevor Siemian behind center. They got killed last week versus Marcus Mariota. I know that, but they have a very talented defense. It was the first week. They got to gel together. They got Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, Larry Ogunjobi, Sheldon Richardson, Olivier Vernon, Greedy Williams on the backside. I will say Demarius Randall is out, which is a concern because he's a really good coverage safety. But I think they'll be fine. They should be able to get pressure on Siemian. They could rack up the sacks here, hopefully force a couple of turnovers. Maybe get lucky with a pick 6. I know they're pretty expensive, $5,400, but I do think they are a very nice play on this slate going up against the backup quarterback. Rashard Higgins, he is questionable, but he did say he should be good to go for game time. And I don't know if you guys know a lot about Rashard Higgins, but him and Baker Mayfield have great chemistry and a great connection with each other. All of his work was done on the first drive last week. He had 2 catches for 46 yards, almost got into the end zone, then he got a little injured, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. He's really cheap, and the thing I like about Higgins is he sees the softest coverage on the Browns offense. Obviously the the best part of the secondary is going to be matched up with Odell, then Jarvis Landry, then David Njoku. Team's got to worry about Nick Chubb. And then that leaves Rashard Higgins. He's the wide receiver 3 with Antonio Callaway gone, but under the suspension. So I think Rashard Higgins is a pretty nice showdown play. I know it's hard to get sneaky on showdown slates, but Rashard Higgins is my guy to pair up with Baker Mayfield as a secondary option to Odell Beckham Jr. So definitely like Rashard Higgins. I think he is a fantastic play at that price tag. Thomas not interested in the kickers. They are what they are. If it ends up being a field goal fest, they're going to be nice values. Jets defense, if I like all the Browns pieces, would make no sense at all for me to use the Jets. Hilliard's out, not going to use Ratley. If by some chance Le'Veon Bell does not play, Ty Montgomery becomes almost a must play at 1,600. He's a capable pass catcher, and he's only 1,600, and he's going to be the bell cow back. So if Le'Veon Bell is out, Ty Montgomery becomes one of the easiest plays on the slate at that price tag. And the rest of these guys absolutely suck besides one guy, and he actually happens to be the best value on the entire slate for me, and it's Ryan Griffin at tight end for Trevor Siemian. I cannot see Siemian looking downfield often. He's going to need a safety blanket. I think that's going to be Crowder, and I think it's going to be Ryan Griffin. Last week, he was on the field for 94% of the snaps, ran a route, I believe it was 46 out of 50 times for Sam Darnold. And I know, obviously, Sam Darnold's not playing, but Siemian should look his way, and he's only $800, guys, and he's going to allow us to fit in all the studs we want pretty much. And honestly, this guy is not just a complete trash dumpster diving play. He's going to be involved in the offense. Usually these guys that we play at this price tag, we're lucky if they hit the field. So I'm going to take a guy at 800 that's going to be on the field for a majority of the game. I think that's excellent value, so I definitely like Ryan Griffin a lot at 800. And the rest of these guys, no, it's not happening for me. So let's just build a generic lineup together. So at captain, there's a lot of spots we can go. Odell is fine. Le'Veon if he's playing. But I prefer to get Browns exposure in the captain spot. Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, not someone I'm too interested in there. And if you want to get nuts, you can go Ryan Griffin in the captain spot and really just load up your entire team. I don't think that's terrible. But let's just put my favorite guy in this slate, Odell. I should probably pick the captain spot there. So I don't mind Odell in the captain spot at 17,700. I know he's super expensive, but we have a ton of value with Ryan Griffin. So I like Odell there. Then obviously we're going to have to pair him up with Baker Mayfield because we need the correlation there. If I think Odell has a good day, I'm going to have to think Baker Mayfield's got a good day. And like I said, one of my favorite correlation plays is pairing him up with Rashard Higgins. They've got a great connection together, good chemistry. I really like that. I know he's the wide receiver 3 in the Browns, but he should see a decent amount of work for his price tag. And I know it's part of the run game, but I love Nick Chubb. I think the Browns should get a lead, and Nick Chubb will be able to grind it out in the second half. Should get in the end zone 1 or 2 times. He is still involved in the passing game, so it's not like he's a complete non-correlation play. So definitely like Nick Chubb. Got the 4 Browns loaded up there. And then let's just put in, I think the Browns defense should have a pretty good game. They should be able to put pressure on Trevor Siemian. Now, I know if we have all the offense for the Browns, we'd like this to be a back and forth game, but honestly, I just do not see that happening, guys. So 5,400, I don't mind it. Now, there's a couple of things we can go after this, so let's just plug in Ryan Griffin for the value there. That's going to leave us 700 remaining. We can also, if you don't want to play the Browns defense and you hope it's a back and forth game, you can plug David Njoku in. I don't hate it. So if you want to go all 5 Browns and then just run it back with Ryan Griffin, that's a fine way to go too. I think the Browns defense maybe has I shouldn't say they have a safer floor because defenses can always go down. But I like both of them, David Njoku, Browns defense. I think they're both fine plays. So it's really just whatever you think. This is just the lineup I made on the fly here. So, obviously you don't have to follow it. I don't know what I'm going to do for the Showdown Slate. This was just very first look. Anyway, guys, I hope this was helpful for you. Kind of helped me just breaking all the guys down. And I wish you guys the best of luck on the slate. I hope you guys had a fantastic Sunday main slate. It's pretty good all around for me. I had a lot of the Chiefs. Unfortunately, did not have Demarcus Robinson, who went absolutely nuts. That McCole Hardman and Patrick Mahomes 70-yard touchdown that got negated by LaShawn McCoy holding penalty. I believe that was what happened. That absolutely sucked. That could have been a slate breaker. Hardman was 5% owned in one of the large GPPs. I had a ton of Hardman. So it really sucked that it came back. But still a nice day with all the Chiefs. And I hope you guys did as well. I'll see you guys in the next video. And good luck.